Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about Netflix's Damsel. This is a film that just premiered on the network today, March 8th, starring Millie Bobby Brown. It was also executive produced by Millie Bobby Brown alongside others. It also starred Angela Bassett, Robin Wright, and Shohreh Aghdashloo, which is a name I hope I said correctly, from The Expanse, of course, and other things. So I'm a huge fan of Millie Bobby Brown's ever since she was in not just Stranger Things, but the show she did before that. I think it was called Imposters from the UK. She was like 9. She was great in that as well. She's just fantastic. She's been great in the Enola Holmes films, and she just really did a good job in this. But let's talk about the plot. So, as you might have gathered if you saw the trailer, it's a story about a kingdom that finds itself beholden to a dragon, and that as a result, I don't want to say recruits, but sort of, let's say catfishes, for lack of a better term, cons young women from nearby kingdoms to get them to come to their kingdom and marry the prince in a ceremony where they then become of royal blood by literal blood mixing by cuts to the hand and a meshing of the palms before they are tossed over a bridge into a dragon's pit and sacrificed to the dragon, because long ago the dragon's 3 babies were killed by the king of this kingdom that Robin Wright is now the queen of. I guess because they just wanted to kill a dragon, so they went and killed the dragon's babies, and the dragon laid waste to them, and then went on to, of course, ravage the kingdom, at which point a deal was made that every so often they would sacrifice 3 royal princesses, 3 royal daughters, to the dragon for the dragon to kill or whatever, in exchange for the dragon leaving them alone as a penance for what was done to her 3 dragonlets in the past. So, as the movie opens, we find Millie Bobby Brown's character, Elodie, living in her poor kingdom with her parents and struggling to help the people of the kingdom survive by, doing manual labor and putting it towards the good of the community that's under her father as the, I guess, king, although he's not very grandiose. It's a poor kingdom. And who should come knocking but Robin Wright's character's royal guard or whatever to get the princess to marry their prince in exchange for a bunch of gold that will help the people of Elodie's kingdom. And so the father agrees to it, and Elodie reluctantly agrees to it to help her people. They go to the kingdom and everything's nice. She meets the prince. They seem to like each other. And on the eve of the marriage, the mother suspects that something is up because of the way the queen treated her, and because of the way the father reacted after his meeting with the queen to discuss the particulars of the joining. And so she warns Elodie, we got to get out of here. This isn't going to happen. But the father puts the kibosh on that. And the whole ceremony takes place, and she gets tossed in the pit, which you saw in the trailer. What follows is a pretty good story of Elodie surviving this ordeal by the strength of her character and the strength of her wits and the strength of her experience doing sort of manual tasks and living rough, which she uses to outsmart the dragon and overcome some pretty serious elements that just were not her friend. They were very harmful, from the dragon's fire to crystal caves that she had to climb out of, which of course would cut you like a crazy person if you fell onto it or brushed up against it the wrong way. Just navigating the terrain of these caverns. And she comes through all of it only to find that because she's gotten out and the dragon has lost its crap, not being able to kill her, and went up and sort of attacked the town again, or the kingdom again, the queen takes Elodie's younger sister and slices the hand and meshes the palms and throws her in the pit, at which point, of course, Elodie goes back to rescue her sister. In the interim, the father regrets what he did, and he goes to try to rescue Elodie, but he gets killed by the dragon, as do his men, which leaves a bunch of armor around that Elodie uses to trick the dragon to get her away from the sister so she can rescue the sister, who the dragon was holding hostage to get to Elodie. And of course, in the end, she learns that the story she was told by the queen, which was that the dragon attacked the kingdom out of the blue, which is why her lair was invaded and so forth. And that the truth is that they came unprovoked and just killed her babies. And now this is why things are the way they are. And upon learning this, Elodie at sword point tells the dragon, look, I'm not really royal. They smushed my palm together with his while our hands were bleeding. And so I'm not really royal. They've been tricking you. And you've killed innocent girls all this whole time, innocent women. And the dragon doesn't believe her. So she ends up tricking the dragon and wounds the dragon pretty bad with its own fire and with her sword. After which, she uses these healing slugs that she found in the cave, which helped her heal her own wounds, to heal the dragon. And of course, in the end, she goes back to the kingdom just as another woman is about to be married into this nonsense. And she gives them what for, and the dragon lights the place up and kills everybody. So, happy ending. She then goes home to her own kingdom with her sister and her stepmother and the dragon, ostensibly to carry on ruling her kingdom and doing what she can to help her people, I guess, with all the gold that she still, I guess, has, still would be on the boat, right? On the boat that they used to get there. So, happy ending. And, I like a good ass kicking woman story. So I really liked this movie quite a bit. I like Millie Bobby Brown anyway. She was fantastic in this. But I will say that it started out as a better movie than it finished. There's nothing wrong with the ending. There's nothing wrong with the middle of the film, especially. But it was very, I think, generic. It was very basic. Once you get past the point where she realizes she's been tricked and she's tossed in and all the niceties are over and the gritty part starts, that part's good up to a certain point, and then it seemed to sort of fall a little bit flat. It seemed a little bit too easy for her to get out, even though it was arduous. It still seemed a little bit too easy. And then the end just comes right at you. So there's a confrontation with the dragon. The dragon gets hurt pretty much right away. It only lasted a couple of minutes. It could have been a little more, I thought, stretched out. And you don't want to stretch it out to the point where it's stretched out. But in other words, it was too quick, I thought, and could have been a little bit more epic. I thought the back and forth could have continued for a while where she's trying to tell her the truth and convince her of reality. And the dragon keeps saying, no, I don't believe you. And she keeps offering proof. And the dragon says, no, I don't believe you. I thought that could have gone on a little bit longer. I thought it was over too quickly. And, I thought that Robin Wright's Evil Queen was kind of one dimensional. I think they could have put more into developing that character and having it be less sort of mustache twirling, as it were, less one dimensional, as I said a moment ago, and a little bit more fleshed out, kind of a little bit more Thanos, if you know what I'm talking about. I thought that would have been good. I thought that would have made the story more nuanced. It may have given you that feeling where, hey, this villain isn't all evil. She's a person that was put in a tough spot and kind of regrets what she's doing, but is doing it anyway. To give it a little bit more sadness versus just raw black and white good and evil kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? I thought that would have been a little better. But in addition to Millie Bobby Brown being excellent, which really makes the movie enjoyable, was the actress portraying the dragon, Shora Agadashlu, whose name I know I'm saying incorrectly because I lack the linguistic skills to say it correctly. She was fantastic as the dragon. I never would have thought in a million years to cast her as a dragon, but she does have an incredible voice with an incredible timbre and just an incredible accent that works really well for this dragon character, which is, seething and brooding and dark and pained. And her voice just was fantastic for this. She did a really great job. And I would like to see this movie nominated for, whatever awards it can be nominated for, Saturn Awards or whatever it can be nominated for. I don't know that it's quite Oscar quality, but Millie Bobby Brown is excellent. Angela Bassett's very good. And Shora Agadushlu is just fantastic. So I think they do deserve some industry recognition for their work. And, the cinematography was fantastic. Some of these Netflix movies are hit or miss with that. And where the story in this one was kind of basic and not grandiose to the point where I would have said it was a great movie versus a good movie, the cinematography and the production values were super, super high. That part was really great. There's a scene early in the film after she falls into the pit where she comes across these birds that are burning because the dragon breathes its fire while they're flying, and it catches them on fire. And you see this sort of pile of birds all over, burning birds all over the floor. And it was very brutal. And just visually, it paints a dark picture, you know. And I thought it was well done, but it looked real. This is a film where the CGI was fantastic, which is not always the case, especially with small screen ventures. But they really did a great job. And like I said, the other production values were just on point. So it was really great. The only thing about the special effects vis-a-vis the dragon that I would have liked is to see the dragon a little bit bigger. I mean, the dragon's big, right? It's not the size of a household dog. But this thing was flying around inside a cave. And, a cave can be super, super ginormous. But I don't know if they made the cave too big, such that the dragon looked small in comparison, or if they just didn't make the dragon big enough. It wasn't your typical dragon. It was kind of oddly designed for a dragon. It looked a lot more like a flying lizard than a dragon should, even though essentially a dragon's a flying lizard. It just did not look as imposing as other dragons that we're used to seeing in these types of movies. Smoke, for example. So I would have liked it if the dragon were a little bigger. But like I said, good movie, not terribly long. So like I said, they could have made it a little longer with some of the things that I talked about, fleshing out the queen character, for example, not making the final fight so quick. So there was room for it. I don't know why they didn't. It's not like it would have made it 3 hours versus two. It was feature length, but short enough where they could have made it longer. So anyway, that's really all I have to say about this movie. You should check it out. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. Millie Bobby Brown is excellent. The cast is excellent. Everything about it is excellent in terms of the production value and the casting, and the story itself is pretty good. So there you go. I'm going to get out of here for now. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.